One of the biggest advantages of being a PC gamer is that we can install mods and can enjoy titles otherwise unavailable on the console. That, however, comes at a price, because every once in a while we have to upgrade, and that can be a nuisance to say the least. So in case you have a PC that won't run some of the newest games, here's a short list of some fresh and good titles that would burn your PC. If Dark Souls can be called a dying simulator, then Hotline Miami is without a doubt a restart simulator. Next to the button responsible for shooting, the one we use to restart the level, or in that case the so-called scene, is the one we'll use the most often. Hotline Miami 2 might not look like much, but it further explores the ideas seen in the first game, offering a punishing yet satisfying shooter that not only forces us to memorize certain fragments and think ahead, but also relies a lot on our reflexes. The 80s atmosphere is further strengthened by psychedelic scenes and a darker story, which sometimes makes us feel guilty that we revel in all that killing happening on the screen. Edmund Macmillan, one of the creators of the critically acclaimed Super Meat Boy, recently made a comeback with the nightmarish Binding of Isaac, a game in which we play an abused child who's locked in his basement and has to fight his inner fears. And while the game might look cartoonish, is anything but, and will surely make some of you rage quit. In comparison to Super Meat Boy, which was a straightforward platformer, Binding of Isaac is a roguelike action-adventure with randomly generated rooms. Our hero, the titular Isaac, needs to face his fears in a basement where his abusive mother locked him in. Initially, we fight monsters using our own tears as projectiles. Macmillan's latest game has a creepy atmosphere with a tough yet satisfying gameplay. If you're looking for a cartoonish, uplifting indie game, you might want to skip this one, as it is quite possible that Isaac won't be the only one doing the crying.
You are going to regret crossing me.
Cyberpunk in video games is having a renaissance of sorts lately, and in case you're like me, you love Deus Ex and Blade Runner, then you're probably over the moon. However, CD Projekt's Cyberpunk is a long way off, so this one might sweeten the wait. A good cyberpunk game, more than anything, should focus on questions like what is humanity in a world dominated by technology. In my opinion, Technobabble not only does that well, but also is a textbook example of a good adventure game. It has an interesting story, well-written characters, and rewarding puzzles set in interesting levels. This indie gem might not be stunning on the visual side, but it feels and plays like a good science fiction novel that will suck you right in, and that's definitely a plus for me. Moving away from a dark cyberpunk setting, I'd like to make a U-turn and take you to a much less dark Wild West. And like in any good western, it's gonna get hot, and we're gonna listen to some banjos and harmonics. I'm talking here about Westerado. Like any good western, it starts with a murder, and like any good western, that setup escalates into a tale of revenge. Our rancho gets burned to the ground, our family slaughtered, and there's nothing else for us to do but to go on a search for the one responsible and bring them to justice. But to do that, we have to gather clues and carry out an investigation of sorts. Apart from offering some detective elements, Westerado also features an open world and a lot of freedom for an indie title. Best of all, however, is the fact that with every single playthrough, the world is randomly generated, so it makes for some interesting gameplay. The 80s action movie era, featuring such paragons of manliness like Stallone, Schwarzenegger or Norris, might be over, but lucky for us we have a game called Broforce, which is a love letter to the action flicks of the 80s. The game not only brings back to life several pop culture icons of that time, but it also has what we love those campy movies for, and that is non-stop action. In Broforce, we'll enforce American values and justice in the most American way possible, with tons of lead. The game lets us play as iconic heroes of the 80s and massacre terrorists while planting the American flag wherever possible. Apart from being a fun shoot-'em-up, it is also in a way a thought-provoking satire of the genre, which honors movies from 80s and early 90s. The frantic game is that much more fun if you recognize all of the playable heroes, and is in essence what the said movie stood for: simple yet fun, with action above all else. Mellow is one of those addictive games in which you play for half an hour and then suddenly realize a week has gone by and you don't have a life no more. The said title is a turn-based board game in video game form, where we play as anthropomorphic animals, thread across a hexagonal map, and try to outwit our opponents while also trying to reach our goal, and those are quite various. Our Mellow is as addictive as a good board game should be, has a ton of replayability, random elements, many interesting item and spell cards. Oh, and did I mention the cute art style? Yes, it also has a cute art style. Okay, let's not get carried away with all that cuteness and go back to a dark, grim atmosphere in a game which is a chilling blend of horror and science fiction. If you like movies set in deep space where something slowly kills off the entire cast, then you're probably a fan of movies like Alien or Event Horizon. And if you enjoy such themes, then you've probably played games like Dead Space or System Shock. The next game I want to recommend might be a great pick for a fan of the aforementioned titles. Stasis is a point-and-click adventure with a dense atmosphere and a sense of isolation. In a nutshell, it's a sci-fi horror in which the protagonist awakes from hibernation and tries to figure out what the hell happened and where's the rest of the crew. And if the setup and the atmosphere weren't a good selling point enough for you, I also have to mention quite good puzzles that come with the package. After the original God of War trilogy came to a close, the gaming world seems to have largely forgotten about ancient Greece. And in case you're saddened by that and are a fan of Greek mythology, then you should definitely try Apotheon. First of all, however, the game isn't 100% historically accurate and takes some liberties with the subject matter. The game itself is, after all, set in ancient Greece, or more specifically, an ancient Greek vase. In terms of gameplay, it's a polished Metroidvania kind of hybrid, so we have the said art style, a pretty cool fighting system with numerous weapons, some platforming, and a simple crafting system on top of that. You won't find a bigger story at play, but the previously mentioned elements make for a fun mix nevertheless. Last but definitely not least, we have another cyberpunk game called Shadowrun Hong Kong, and I know that the newest iteration of Shadowrun came out in 2013 with Shadowrun Returns. Shadowrun Hong Kong came out in 2016, so it kinda qualifies as a new game. Shadowrun is a futuristic universe that combines both technology and magic, so in other words, it's a cyberpunk game where next to implants and sophisticated guns, we'll also be able to use magic and cast a fireball every here and there. Shadowrun is a classical turn-based RPG at its best. Sure, the animations aren't perfect by any means and the game requires a lot of reading from the audience, but if you're patient enough, you'll be greatly rewarded. At least, I was. In case you're worried that you haven't played the previous Shadowrun Returns or its expansion, don't worry, you won't get lost. You'll just pick them up as soon as you're done with Hong Kong. So if you have a dated PC at home but still want to play some fresh good games, feel free to give a chance to some of the titles on this list. As always, I'm Jordan, thanks for watching, and keep it here at GamePressure.com.